right. Dun, 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 dun. Folks, I gotta say, there was a clip that kind of went viral, and I know I saw Comedy Hype do a video on it, and it was a 90s convention or a 90s con that went down in Hartford, Connecticut over the weekend, and you had Harriet, Carl, Laura, and Eddie, the Winslows, at the convention. And let me just put it this way: Jo Marie Payton, aka Harriet Winslow, aka Sugar Mama from the Proud Family, she went in terms of, look, if there's ever a Family Matters reboot, I'm only doing it if Judy Winslow is written back in. And let me tell you, when I listen to her break it down, if I can, I'll put like a segment of it at the beginning of the video, but I highly recommend looking at it in its entirety in your own time, because I'm like, that's a black mama. That's a mama's love right there. It's like, you want somebody to go to bat for you the same way Joe went for Jamie. Let me get the name. It's Jamie Foxworth, who portrayed Judy Winslow in the first few seasons of the show. What was it? The first 3 seasons of the show. Basically, she says that if a reboot were to ever come back, she would only come back to the series if her missing child is brought back. Don't think for a minute that after, when Judy was written off, that we didn't, go in for her, due to the fact that you guys need to tell me something that is not only creative, but also politically correct to straighten out the situation, because there's nowhere in the world a family. You just gave me 3 kids. You took away my baby. She talks about, if you had taken away my oldest child, we could have come up with a various number of explanations, like, oh, she's at the mall for friends, or she's in college, or, this or that. But, when I asked you, why did you take away my baby girl, you said nobody would notice. And that's a thing. I remember the original, the original person and head of Marvel Studios said the same thing about Terrence Howard, when he got swapped for Don Cheadle, who's, in the role of Rhodey, aka War Machine. It was like, it's just another black person, nobody will notice. So yeah. But what Jo Marie said that really stood out to me was that I said, you know what, when we're walking down the street, nobody's going to notice you, because they're not going to ask you, they're going to ask me, hey, what happened to Judy? So for me, that's one of the things that I wouldn't be excited about in regards to, speaking of, back during the day when people would ask, but that's something I would want if I were going back to the show. She says, the very first episode has to be Judy coming down those stairs. And like I said, you need to check out the full, segment where she goes in, because that's a mama right there. That's a mama bear. It's just interesting because from there are different, quotes from the cast about it. Like Eddie Winslow said, the possibilities are endless today. You guys have so much more power in your hands than you did. There were only 3 networks. There was 3 networks, 4 networks: ABC, Fox, CBS, NBC. Now there are so many platforms that guys, the fans can start online petitions and campaigns, get on Facebook, talk. You guys had this much power in your hands. If you guys had this much power in your hands, Judy would have never got left at the mall. And I agree. It's just one of those things where nowadays the people have a voice. And if enough people back it, then the Family Matters reboot can happen. But I respect Jo Marie coming to bat for her daughter, aka Judy. But the thing about it is, let's be completely real. And I'm just going to keep it 100. Even though I don't think we need a Family Matters reboot, but if all these other shows are getting reboots, hell, I mean, the Full House reboot, which I only watched 6 episodes of, if they do a Family Matters reboot, I'm going to watch it. I will. It's just the fact that if Urkel isn't in it, nobody's really going to care. Let's just be completely honest here. Judy Winslow wasn't a main star of the show. She was barely there. And when she was gone, it's like, yeah, people noticed, but it wasn't enough to hurt the show in terms of ratings and whatnot. There have been stories about, Jamie's parents wanting more money for her, and that was one reason she was cut, or other situations where, Urkel got a pay boost, and then, Jamie didn't get one as well. I don't know. I think that Jaleel mentioned something along those lines in an interview before, but it's kind of like, the whole, like, why didn't Chris Tucker do, next Friday? It's like 80 different variations of the story, but I feel like I feel like a Joe Marie Payton list Family Matters reboot would still happen. If Jalil's like, hey, I want to put on the suspenders again. Like, I know, what did he do recently? Like his own, weed or narcotic or whatever, Urkel, whatever. See, and he got dressed for that. It was him and Snoop Dogg. But if Jalil said, hey, let's do a reboot, and the writers and whatnot did not put Judy in it, and Joe Marie said she wouldn't do it, the reboot would still get made. Don't get me wrong. In the day and age we live in of social media, in that first episode, to have the original Harriet Winslow, because remember, Joe Marie wasn't in the final season or the final batch of episodes on ABC. It was another actress. If both her and Judy were in the first episode, that would go viral, because fans would be like, finally, Judy came down the stairs. Joe Marie is back as Harriet like she was back in the day. But if they weren't in the show, people would talk about it for real online. There would be a lot of noise, but people would still watch the show if Urkel is in it. Let's just be completely, it's Family Matters, but it's Urkel. It's Family Matters, but it's the Urkel show. But hopefully, if the show came back, they could do the show justice by giving the other cast, good story. I would love to see Richie growing up, and things like that. Maybe he and Gwen. Oh shit, my bad. The actress that portrayed her, Naya Riviera. She died recently. Damn, because I would love to see Richie and Gwendolyn got married and whatnot, but and then they have a kid of their own. I don't know. Well, Orlando Brown probably wouldn't be in it, but I don't know. It's just the fact that, with Jamie doing porn and whatnot, people be like, oh, but remember Stephanie Tanner, her actress, was on drugs or whatever for a while. So look, it's 2022. There are a lot of shows and movies that have brought back people who have done a lot of things off camera that were sketchy, but we don't give a shit. We want to see the family back together again. I would love to see Aunt Rachel again. I hated when the show had a Rachel go away for a long time, and I remember she came back randomly for a Christmas episode. But I just feel like there was a lot going on that I really wish we knew more. Well, not necessarily knew more about, but I wish that the show would come back to an extent. I mean, hell, you got the dramatic retelling of Bel Air, which I feel is really good. It's its own show. And I feel like if there's a Family Matters reboot or sequel series with the old cast, it would just be like a continuation of the story, which I'm here for. But, the thing is this. If Joe Marie, a lot of people, I saw some people if Joe Marie isn't going to do it, then the show isn't going to be made. Folks, hate to tell you, if Jaleel White says, I will do the Urkel role again, my question is, would the other cast members side with Joe Marie, saying Carl and Eddie and Laura, hey, we're not doing it if Judy doesn't come back? Would they do that? I mean, I don't think it's no. And remember, it's a reboot. These characters don't have to be in every single episode. Judy wouldn't have to be in every single episode. Just having her if Judy came down the stairs in episode 1 and she only appeared maybe in the last episode of the first season, let's say it was 10 episodes, fans wouldn't care. It's just the fact that she's there that matters, because it's family. See what I did there? But I feel like a Family Matters reboot, it's like they're rebooting damn near every single TGIF show. What's next? Step by Step? Sister, even though they debunked the Sister reboot a while ago. They said it was happening, then it wasn't. So we'll just have to wait and see. But let me know your thoughts. And let me just say again, I appreciate Joe Marie going to bat like it is. It's somebody you want in your corner. It's somebody like a Joe Marie who would vouch for their quote unquote television child. But do you think that if a Family Matters reboot were to get the green light, would Judy come back, and would the cast rally with Joe to bring her back? We'll just have to wait and see. But yeah, like I said, check out the article. This was from people.com, and I will leave a link to the full 90s con where Harriet, pretty much went in for her child. So thanks so much for tuning in. Go ahead and hit the thumbs up button to show you like the video. Follow me on social media. Links are in the description below. Hit subscribe and hit the bell icon and select all. That way you don't miss out whenever I post content on the channel.